everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, star maker for entrepreneurs who want to unlock their potential, command any stage, and make blockbuster profits. Welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. Here we go.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Poduska, and welcome to this episode of Thrive, How to Hear Divine Guidance with my guest, Ramona Remisat. Ramona is an intuitive mindset coach, angel therapy practitioner, speaker, and co-author of the Amazon best-selling book, 365 Days of Angel Prayers. On this episode, Ramona shares with us what divine guidance actually is and how we can tap into it as entrepreneurs to make more authentic, intuitive decisions in our businesses. She also shares with us how we can recognize when our divine guidance is trying to speak to us, because we each have different strengths and channels that tune into our intuition, and she talks to us about how we can hone that skill to really make better decisions. And finally, she talks to us about why it's so important to set big goals in our businesses, but then to let go of how the minutia of it's going to get accomplished, because when we let our intuition guide us, magical, better results start to happen. Ramona is a fantastic, fun guest. I hope you enjoy the show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Thrive, the show where I bring you tips, resources, and people to help you create a brand that makes you happy and profitable. I'm your host, Heather Poduska, brand strategist and success coach. And I want to thank you for joining me today. You are in for 30 minutes of high-value content coming to you from industry leaders who are growing their business, making a difference, and rocking their brands. And I am thrilled to have my special guest here today, Ramona Remisat. Ramona is an intuitive mindset coach, angel therapy practitioner, speaker, and co-author of the Amazon bestseller, 365 Days of Angel Prayers. She works with the spiritually open-minded women coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs who struggle with fears, stress, and self-doubt, who want to stop second-guessing themselves, make clear and confident decisions, and crush those limiting mind stories. Using her unique combination of angel therapy and Reiki, Ramona shows her clients how to access their inner guidance so they can take action steps toward fulfilling their purpose and having the life and business they deserve. So thank you so much for prevailing and staying with me, Ramona.
Thank you for putting up with me and my techno glitches. And I have no idea what happened. Like, it was literally the internet just cut out completely and it was fine all morning. So anyway.
Okay, Ramona, you are the expert. Are we still in Mercury retrograde?
Till Saturday. So.
Well, there you go.
Yep. and I've been fine this whole way, but it had to just rear its ugly head right at the last moment. But hey.
You know what? We are rolling with it. And I just did a bit of a boop. Just a little bit earlier this morning, and I'm actually wearing the same outfit today because we had so many technical glitches. I ended up talking on the phone like this because she couldn't see or hear us, but we could hear her through the phone. So it's been crazy technology day, but I'm so glad that you're here. So thank you for really sticking with us. And I know that you have so many wonderful insights and advice to share with everybody. So my first question is actually about Reiki. A lot of people, I've heard of it before. I've had it done once or twice, but I have to tell you a funny story. After I had my first baby, I threw my back out in delivery. It was really hard to hold her. And of course, I wanted to hold my newborn baby. And my doctor told me to go get a massage. So I went to get a massage, and I didn't realize it was Reiki. And she kept floating her hands above me. I'm like, put your fingers on my back. I'm in pain here. So tell me a little bit about what Reiki is and how it can help people.
Reiki is a healing modality. It actually originated in Japan almost 100 years ago, but really the idea is that it's been around for much longer than that. But it's a balancing practice. So it works with the energy within and around the body to bring it into balance so that the body can do what it does best, which is heal itself. So it isn't manipulative like a massage. You're absolutely correct. When a client comes for Reiki, they would lay fully clothed on the massage table, and I would move my hands through a series of hand positions from the head down to the feet, have them turn over and do the same thing. So gently, either if they're okay with touch, gently placing my hands on their body or just a couple of inches above. And it just works. The energy flows through the practitioner to the client. The client will draw off the energy that they need, and it will work in multiple levels, on a physical level, an emotional level, and also a spiritual level. So it encompasses all those levels, which I believe is the hallmark of true wellness. You know, we can't just have physical wellness, we also have to have emotional wellness and our spiritual wellness. So it addresses all of those things. And the beautiful thing about Reiki is that now it's starting to become more and more mainstream. Even though a lot of people maybe don't really know what it is, chances are they've probably heard about it. And we have wonderful people like Dr. Oz, who now is talking about it. He did a program on his show all about alternative. Then it was called alternative therapy. Now it's complementary therapy, because it does work as a great complement to any kind of Western medical treatment somebody may be having. But he brought it up. He talked about how he has a Reiki practitioner in his own OR working alongside him, how his wife is a Reiki master, and she will like secretly sort of do it on him when she can tell he's stressed or he has a headache or something like that. So it's lovely to see that now it's starting to become more and more talked about, and more people are choosing it as an option, as I said, either to complement maybe some kind of Western medical treatment that they may be undergoing, or just to help them feel better.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was thinking of the Seinfeld episode where Jerry dates the massage therapist, and he's always trying to lean in. So I liked the term that you said, a complementary modality, right? A complementary modality to help people achieve ultimate wellness. So it's not as, what's the opposite of mainstream?
Well, I guess more holistic. It is a holistic treatment because it treats the whole body, like I said. So it's I guess on par with what you would call holistic treatment.
Yeah. So I was thinking that it's more mainstream, whereas it was not before. Like yoga used to be really out there and sort of, you know, even people thought it was cultish. Now, right. But now I want to talk to you about really one of your other expertises that people might also think is sort of fringe, you know, if they're not familiar with it. So the other thing that you are an expert in is angel therapy practitioner. So tell me a little bit more about that part of your practice.
So angel therapy is as well a healing modality that really involves working with a client, and it's a non-denominational practice. Okay, some people think angel, they think there's a religion affiliated with that. It's not. It's teaching people that we have a spiritual team that supports us in every moment of every day, and that when you work together with your team, you know, then you work with them and they provide you guidance, and then you follow that guidance, and it helps to heal and harmonize pretty much every aspect of your life. So no matter what challenges you might be working through, when you can tell the universe what you need help with and receive the guidance from them, that's going to, you know, tell you what action steps to take. That's where, you know, life really can become very magical and a lot easier. I always tell people it's not easy street, but you know, when you realize you have this guidance that you can tap into and sort of guide you along your way, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, and I know that you've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs as well, and I think that's one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs struggle with. I don't know about you guys in the audience, but I know for me, you have a big vision. There's so many things that you want to do, and you're not always sure what the right decision should be. And there are a lot of things you actually could do. You know, they aren't necessarily choosing between something that's good and bad. It's choosing between something that's pretty good and pretty good sometimes, or they look pretty good and pretty good. And and having clarity of purpose, having a clear focus so that you can focus your energy, your resources, your time, your creativity is priceless, really, when you're growing your business. So talk to me a little bit about that and how tapping into that divine guidance helps you achieve that.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you raised this, because in every moment of every day we have choice, right? We're faced with this or this or this or that. And we can choose to do things, put our time and energy into those tasks that are going to bring us closer in alignment with our path and purpose, or we can choose to put our time and energy into things that are going to pull us further away. And as an entrepreneur, when you can tap into what is going to take you further down the road on your path and purpose, and be in alignment with who you innately are and what you are here to do and what you want to achieve, I mean, that's what it's all about, right? But often what happens instead is we get into what I call, and this is visually how it often appears to me, I see this as a head and heart tug of war, right? We get this feeling or this idea, and we feel really excited about it, and we're like, yes, this is totally what I want to do, and then our head kicks in, right? Mm-hmm. And our ego starts up, and it starts to tell us all the reasons why we can't do that or we shouldn't do that. It's, you're not qualified enough, who's going to listen to you, you're too old, you're too young, that's going to cost too much money, on and on and on, and it doesn't shut up. But unfortunately what happens is that voice just runs 95% of the show, and it's always, those thoughts or ideas always come from fear, right? It doesn't want you to move out of your comfort zone because there's an unknown there. And so when we stay in our comfort zone, that's when we can tend to stagnate. We feel stuck. A lot of people say they're unfulfilled. They just don't know how to change. Whereas when you instead, as I said, take action based on the guidance that's pushing you in the direction of your path and purpose, and you make choices that way, then you move out of that feeling of being stuck. People show up, the opportunities show up, the money is there to support you, and everything just, is amazing. And that's those people you look around and you're thinking, wow, they're really living the dream life. And it's not that they are more deserving than you are. It's just they have sort of learned the trick of how to turn up that volume on the guidance that's coming to them, as opposed to having it on mute. So
yeah,
that's
great. And when I talk to clients too about branding, and Nicole had a great question, why is branding important? And one of the things about branding, according to me, like my definition of branding, it's your choices. Because we've all been around the sun many times, some of us more times than others, right? But you have life experiences, you have expertise, you've developed different parts of your personality, and there are many things you could do. So it's about understanding what your preferences are and how to make the choices that make all of those wonderful things coalesce into one cohesive message, brand, direction. And so I really love what you were saying about that. But my next question around that is, well, it's a twofold question. So you talk about those people that seem to have that Midas touch, that magical touch. They just know what they're doing. The first part of my question is it always people who are more tuned into their guidance? Because I'm wondering if some people are just lucky, that they're, right?
Right.
So let's answer that first, because I want to have a follow-up for that. So what do you think about that?
I think, maybe there are people who have luck, but I really think your luck is what you make of it, right? So, in my experience, it is a people, and maybe they don't really have a name for it, but they kind of have an innate knowingness to tune into that guidance, because it's not a skill you really need to learn. It's more something you need to remember. We all have sort of those moments of intuition when we just know the phone is going to ring or we know who it is. So it's something that we already have. But over the ages, it's been turned off and dumbed down because maybe back in a long time ago, it was deemed as wrong or bad or evil or whatever. And we also turn it off through social conditioning. And so what happens is then we just sort of forget about that. And I just want to give a really quick example about that, because I think when people can get a sense of this, they'll understand. So, moms out there, there's probably been a time when you had to go out to an appointment or something, you have your toddler and you're in a hurry and you're trying to go into a building and they just balk, like they just do not want to go in there. Or maybe you're out, and you bump into somebody and you're like, oh, hi, come and say hi to so-and-so, and your child is kind of cowering behind your legs. And in those instances, you're probably saying, stop being so silly, like, come on, just say hi, or come on, we have to get into this building. And what's happening to that child is there's a radar, they're picking up on something that doesn't feel right to them. But after hearing stop being so silly over and over, they grow up into adulthood realizing, maybe this feeling or this knowingness or this idea that I have can't be trusted. So they turn it off. So again, it's something that, a lot of people might just have that sort of instinct to go to and to be able to tap into their guidance, whereas other people just need a remembering or kind of a refresher on that. And I think that's the case more so than it just being dumb luck.
Ah, got it. And, you said another thing was that they are able to roll with it. I mean, you didn't say it exactly that way, but they take action on it. And I think that that's the other key, right? I mean, you have to,
Yep.
you get the guidance or you tap into your intuition, you finally know what it is that you want, and then you have to move on it. So I have another question for you. Say you get that guidance and you're like, okay, this is it. And now I want to move forward on it. I want to take action on it. I'm motivated. I'm not lazy, right? I'm not a lazy person, but I'm scared. So how do you navigate that?
I navigate that by saying, good that you feel scared, because it means you're picking up the guidance, because the guidance usually does nudge us out of our comfort zone, because as I said, the ego doesn't want us. It wants us to go that way. It wants us to stay comfortable. But the universe is always going to push you ever so gently out of your comfort zone, because that's how you grow and that's how you expand. And that's what our purpose is here in life. It's not to just stay stagnant. We need to be constantly growing. So when you feel that fear, it means bang on, you're picking up the right vibe, that this direction you're being nudged in is correct, even though it feels a little bit scary. So it's about having faith to take the step. Now that is where the work comes in. That is the hardest part. So, a lot of people, unfortunately, they let that fear be such a barrier, they never jump to the other side. And unfortunately, they often stay stuck, they stay unfulfilled, and then they have regrets later in life. But it's the people who can sort of push past the fear and, say, okay, maybe I don't have all the answers. I don't know that for sure if I do A, then B is going to happen. But you know what? I trust that I have help. My spiritual guidance is there to kind of, be along with me for the ride. And they decide to take a step. So it's just taking a step. It doesn't mean you have to take the full leap. Sometimes it's just taking little steps. And that's usually how guidance comes too. It's not the big epiphany moment where the heavens open and the sun streams in and you hear doves. And it's more so, getting breadcrumbs, right? Mm-hmm. And you pick up that breadcrumb and you take that step. And then you get guidance on something else. And then you take that step. So it's constantly leading you in the right direction. And you just have to sort of be tuned into those bits by bit by bit by bit, and it'll take you there.
Yeah, and I love that. And I also think that I've heard lots of examples of this where you think, it's important to have a vision, it's important to have a goal, but once you start on your path and you really follow your intuition and your guidance and you start taking those action steps, you don't know what really is going to happen, and it might not be the vision that you thought it was going to be, but it may be something better.
And it always is better, because we are very tunnel vision thinkers as humans, right? We kind of, and we can't, it's hard for us to stretch and set a goal if we can't quite conceive of how we're going to achieve it. So we might take it down a couple of notches and we'll feel like we'll set a goal because this feels safer. Mm-hmm. But the universe can deliver, and usually does deliver, things that, we were looking this way, and they can bring anything and everything. So it's really important to stay open and not limit yourself by, what you think that outcome is going to look like. So when you ask, you say, universe, I need help with such and such. And in your mind's eye, you're probably thinking, well, it's going to probably look like this or show up like that, or it's going to be X opportunity or whatever. Try to take that out of your mindset, because if you sort of focus too much on the how, it can slow things down. Yeah. And you don't want to do that. So really your job in the equation is to only come up with what it is that you want and leave the how out of it. Don't worry about the logistics. Even if you can't see any way whatsoever, come heck or high water, that could ever happen, ask for it anyway.
That's awesome. Okay, we have a question. Do you help people tune into their easiest mode of guidance, for example, visual, kinesthetic, auditory, or what are some things helpful for this?
Yeah, so that's one of the first things I do when I work with a client, is help them identify how they specifically receive guidance, because it isn't the same for everybody. So that's absolutely right. Some people might be more visual, other people might get guidance through a gut feeling. So when I work with them, I also work with them on how to strengthen that particular, way that they receive guidance. And, it's just a matter of sort of getting really good at recognizing certain things once you know what it is that you're actually looking for, right? So example, if you're a visual person, it's to know that you want to look for things like, do you get repeated dreams? Is there a visual in a dream that you get? Or is there a symbol that you keep seeing? Or are there words that keep popping up? Or do you see number sequences? Or are you seeing, things like birds and butterflies and things of that nature. So it's just really knowing what it is that, first of all, you need to be on the lookout for, and then, practicing that, getting good at recognizing it, so that you can start to see that guidance when it's coming up for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to shift gears just a little bit. Now, you have a big following. You've done some really exciting collaborations. You have done your book, and in a niche that you wouldn't normally think of as sort of it's not a traditional niche, right? But you've amassed this audience. So talk to me about how you really found your groove as a business person, as an entrepreneur, and incorporated your experience and expertise, your unique experience and expertise, to make something that is profitable and that serves people.
Well, it really happened for me because I kind of went through a dark place where I didn't know what my purpose was. I had worked in corporate Canada, I'd been in public relations and marketing, and just had horrible experience after horrible experience with terrible bosses. And my husband finally said to me one day, maybe this isn't what you were supposed to be doing. And it was like a total light bulb moment. And I stayed home with my kids, and while I was blessed to be able to do that, something just kept, nagging at me that there was more that I was meant to be doing, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out what that was. And it spiraled me into a really dark place. And it was coming out of that I returned back to sort of my interest in spirituality and metaphysics that I'd always had from the age that I was about 12. And I started to work more and more with, listening to my guidance, and then realizing that there's lots of people out there who also needed that kind of help. Mm-hmm. So I became, as I said, the certified angel therapy practitioner. I started to see clients, but there was only so much that I could do in the span of, 1 hour session with them. So that's how I grew into my coaching work that I'm doing now. And then I just found that there were so many entrepreneurs that really were struggling. They knew all the business side. And it's sort of the untapped thing that they don't teach you in business school, the whole intuitive side of things, right? They teach you the sales, they teach you the marketing, strategy, all that sort of thing. But as I said, it's when you can, work intuitively, make those choices and decisions from a place of, where it's being guided. You're taking inspired action steps versus those steps that are pushing you, or keeping you in your comfort zone where you're not going to really grow. That's the direction that you want to go to. So, my business really grew from a point of going through it myself and talking with several other people and realizing they were struggling with similar things. And then, as I said, just all of a sudden I started to see more and more entrepreneurs coming to me. And so that is sort of where I've shifted my business now, is to working with them, because there are so many self-doubts and fears that come up, and stress and overwhelm and all the what ifs. And so if you can eliminate a lot of that, it makes life and business so much easier.
Yeah. So we have a couple people that are in the audience, and I was wondering if you'd be game to talking to any of them about their business, or what kinds of things that they might tap into to tap into their own intuition. So if there was anybody in the audience that wanted to join the Blab and have Ramona help them out, or was there something that you had talked about a little bit too, of maybe helping them with a quiz? Yes. You want to?
Yeah. So as I was saying, it's kind of important, when you're receiving guidance, to know what you're looking for. That's really the first step. So if you guys are game, I have a really short 3-question quiz that can help all the listeners determine, first and foremost, how guidance is showing up for them.
Yeah. Okay. And we have someone that wants to join. So, okay, ask to join, and I will put you in the chat. Hi, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the show. There's still more great content to come, but I wanted to take just a minute to talk to you about a new course I've created called Close Any Room. You may have noticed that all of my guests know how to speak about their businesses in a clear and compelling way. But that's something a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it's something you need to know how to do so you can convert your audience into more sales. And that's why I've created this course. It's a 6-week audio course to teach you how to craft a signature talk so that you can authentically give value and close more of your audience from the stage. In the class, you learn how to create a clear and compelling point of view, how to organize your content and give great value to your audience without giving away the farm, how to structure your talk so that it seamlessly closes your audience at the end without feeling salesy. And I also give you templates and instructions how to create marketing materials, a speaker sheet, and all kinds of sign-up sheets when you're giving your talks. And finally, what everybody's hot to know, I also give you tips and resources on how to find speaking gigs. It's an all-inclusive course so that you can start closing and selling more from the stage. And as my free gift to you for tuning into the podcast, I'm giving you my free webinar, also called Close Any Room, and you can listen to it at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. And it will give you lots of tips and information to get you started on how to create that signature talk that sells. Okay, we're going to get back to the show now. There's still more great content to come. Thanks for joining me.
Okay, here we go.
Hello.
Hello. Hello again. Nice to see you. So did you have a question for Ramona?
Yeah, there's something on my screen. It's like a new black thing I've never seen before. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. Hi, Ramona.
Hello, welcome.
So Ramona, is the quiz for just for one person or for everybody?
It's for everybody.
Okay. Okay.
Do I need
So
a
go
pen?
Do you want me to go ahead with the quiz?
Yeah, we're gonna go with the quiz.
Okay, awesome. So basically it's just 3 short questions. I'm going to read out 3 scenarios, and I want everybody to choose one answer. And if you're stuck between 2 answers, I want you to kind of pick the one that you thought of first. Go with your gut instinct on that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so the first question is, when you initially meet somebody for the very first time, think about that, what is it that you tend to notice about them? Is it A, the way they look, their appearance, maybe it's their hair, their shoes, something that you're noticing about them? That would be A. B would be how you feel around them. Do they make you feel safe? Do they make you feel comfortable? Are you amused? Is it a feeling? Is it C, the way, do you find them interesting or feel like maybe there's a way that they can help you out in your business? Or D would be the sound of their voice or their laughter. So pick A, B, C, or D.
So this is question number 1.
That's question number 1.
Okay.
Okay. So question number 2 is think back on a vacation that you took. And what stands out most in your memory? Is it A, the beautiful sights of nature, maybe it was the architecture or something you witnessed? B is perhaps the peaceful, romantic, or exhilarating feelings that you associated with the trip. C would be some kind of an important or interesting cultural or historic information that you learned while you were on your trip. Or D would be the sounds. Maybe it was chirping birds or the crashing surf or perfect silence or music or some other sound associated with it.
Okay. All right. So 2 is about vacation. What's the third one?
Third one is a movie. Think back to a movie you really enjoyed, or maybe it's your favorite movie. And what is the first thing that comes to mind? So would it be A, the lighting, the costumes, the scenery, or maybe it's the attractive actors and actresses?
Hello.
Maybe you're thinking Magic Mike. I don't know.
I'll never tell.
Nobody has to reveal that, so that's okay. B is the way the movie made you laugh or cry or maybe moved you in a certain way. C would be the interesting plot or the life lessons that you or the characters learned. Or D would be the musical score or the sound of the actors and actresses' voices. So chances are everybody got 1 or 2 letters that were the same. So that would be your dominant way that you would be receiving guidance. We can receive guidance always by things we hear, things we see, things we know, and things we, what did I say, see, hear, feel, and know. So the thing though is we have one that sort of fires first, like 4-cylinder engine in a car, there's always 1 cylinder that fires first. So that would be your most dominant one. Now, if you're out there and you had a different letter for every answer, first make sure you chose your gut instinct, and then just pay attention as I quickly read out what these mean, because it could be that you are firing on multiple cylinders.
Okay, so Majin, what did you have mostly?
B.
B. Oh, and Nicole had B too, across the board. So we can start with B.
Okay, B is actually the most common. So I love that you guys are Bs. Bs are my feelers. So you receive guidance through things you feel, through your body, through your heart. You just have a feeling, that gut instinct, and it was always bang on. So I want you to always know to trust that. You are the type of person you can tell right away if a person is trustworthy, right? Or you might be the type of person that notices when you have your spiritual assistants around you. You might feel air pressure changes, sense a presence around you. Don't write that stuff off because you are picking up on that guidance. So it's really important for you to tune into your gut and always listen to that. Like I said before, there's sometimes a tug of war that goes on between the gut and the head tries to talk you out of things. So you have to get really good at kind of doing this. I do this all the time. My kids come in the room and they just roll their eyes because I'll be like, shut up, shut up. When I hear that ego voice kicking in, I'm just like, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you. And, it's about really kind of almost having blinders on to keep you focused on that gut and take the head out of the equation. Now, I have one little quick sidebar about feelers. Feeling is a blessing and a challenge. And why it's a blessing is because it's hard to deny what you feel, but you feel it. So you're going to be really good at getting that guidance, more so than maybe a thought that could come in and go out very quickly. So your feeling, you will always feel. But then the downside of that is you can sometimes feel too much. And you take in other people's feelings, and you can start to feel very tired, almost like drained and depleted or sad or mad for no reason. So it's really important for feelers to learn how to manage their feeling. And I do this often with my clients. We talk about various techniques that they need to learn so that they can still do what they do, especially as a coach or, in a consulting capacity, do what they do and yet still be protected so they are not taking in other people's energy. And it's very interesting that very often feelers are drawn to careers in counseling, healing, teaching, helping, coaching type of work, and why there is such a huge amount of burnout in those fields, because people get so much energy from their clients, their patients, their students, that they, after time, we're human, right? We could only take on so much.
So, Majine, that's your business, right? You are working with, is it with kids?
Yeah, I've been an educator, but I've created an initiative to end bullying and really bring world peace, really starting here. And so my burnout actually in teaching was from everybody but the children. And you're bringing that up, and I'm feeling like my daughter has been having some sort of issues. I'm dealing with like some sort of this classic bullying issue, 5 years old, 6 years old. And I have been feeling exhausted. I love the example that you gave, because I totally wouldn't even say I'm a feelings person, even like, it's just, I would, but I wouldn't. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm expecting you're going to give me a quiz that tells me that I'm highly claircognizant, because I just know things. And I almost like, but I am learning to trust myself when somebody's calling me. And, I had a best friend call me the other day, and I don't want to talk to her. You know what I mean? Because of everything going on.
Yep.
But, I've always been told I'm mean, I'm not nice, which is the opposite of how I am. But it's just been my experience, like at home and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Growing up, like, because I'm a nonconformist, so it's not nice. So when I want to stick to my story, I'm like, you don't make me feel good. Then it's like I'm wrong. So this is kind of an aha that I'm like, oh, wait a second. And I do, like, this week I've been feeling exhausted, and I'm like, I feel like I'm hearing my guidance, I'm following it more than ever, but I'm exhausted. And I wonder if that's from my daughter and her emotions. Like, she's been having these fits of rage.
So what do you think, Ramona? What do you think? And can you give a quick tip on what she can do to protect herself, to keep her energy?
Yeah, so that's totally like, every time we have a relationship with somebody where they need something from us, we form this invisible cord, and this invisible cord can work to pull energy from us, and it can also send energy to us. So if it's attached to somebody who's angry, you might feel pain in your body without there being a real cause for it. And you can also feel sucked dry. It's like we all have those friends who are the energy vampires, right? Where you get off the phone and you're exhausted.
Right.
So with your daughter, there's absolutely a connection there, and she can be, you know, both sending you energy and pulling your energy. It could cause you to feel depleted. You can cut those cords, and I know some people are horrified, especially when I say you have to cut your cords to your children. It doesn't mean that you're severing, you know, the love bond,
positive
that
cords.
never gets severed.
Right.
It's about, you know, taking away the dysfunction part that isn't working. So you can do that by visualizing yourself, you know, kind of coming with whatever kind of slicing device. You know, one woman said, I'm gonna make my, you know, bedazzled scissors, and I said, great, you know, whatever you want, to visually slice through those cords that are attached there to separate yourself so that you're not going to be impacted so much by what is going on with your daughter.
Great.
And you can also use a technique called shielding, which is just exactly what it sounds like, envisioning yourself in a shield of light.
Right.
So that you can sort of, you know, give of yourself, but you won't be impacted. And I always like to use the analogy of the Glinda the Good Witch in Wizard of Oz in a bubble. And that's what I like to use. So I imagine myself in this beautiful bubble, and I'm floating around doing my thing, but I'm not going to have everybody else's stuff impact me. So that's a technique that you can also use.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you, Ramona. And thank you, Majine, for joining us and being our guinea pig. That's awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, nice to see you. So, Ramona, quickly, can you do A, C, and D? Because we're kind of getting at time crunch. So do A, C, and D for us.
A is clear seeing. So these are the people, again, like I said, they're going to get guidance through mental images, things they witness. Maybe it's something of very significance that you just know is significant to you, number sequences, things in a dream. So pay attention to that. And again, it's repeated. Guidance comes repeatedly. So that's your cue. Circle that, put an asterisk, watch for repeated things you see. B, we already said, is things you're feeling. So if you have a repeated gut feeling about something, tune into that and take action on it. C is the clear knowing. These are the people who have downloads. They just have a knowingness about something. They might get great aha, insightful moments about a business opportunity or a business idea or a teaching or an invention. So don't ignore that. These people tend to think this is common knowledge, and it's not. It's the way your guidance is coming for you, coming to you. And D is clairaudience. That's clear hearing. So pay attention to what you're hearing around you and also within your own mind. So you might hear your own voice, but might be something that makes you stand up and pay attention where you think, geez, that was a really neat idea. I never thought of that before. So if you're hearing kind of like things, you know, that in your ear, pay attention. That can also mean warnings. Sometimes you'll hear a loud like no or stop. So always heed that as well.
Yeah, and those are all things that are really important in your business too, right? I mean, we think about it sometimes in personal life, but in business to really be paying attention to those things. If you have a feeling about a client, maybe everything about them looks perfect on paper. They look like the perfect client, but you get that feeling in your stomach like, I don't know why, or maybe it's big money. Like, you know that this is going to be a high ticket opportunity, like speaking gig, or, you know, maybe a high paying client. And you have that, like, I want that, but I don't feel right. So it's so important to follow those things. Cause I know for myself that, I've been pretty good about paying attention to that. And I had something recently where an opportunity came up and I just was like, I know this isn't the right thing. And I was really pleased because I was able to trust that intuition. And because I knew that I was making a conscious decision, I didn't second guess it. Like, I knew it was the right thing. And the thing about that is that it opens you up to the next opportunity that actually is in alignment with your brand and your business.
Right.
Yeah. So, Ramona, you have done Blab, and you have is it a weekly angel reading?
It is, yeah. So it's a heads up for here's what's coming up for the following week, and just gives you some insight onto what to expect and what to do.
Yeah, and you speak very well, and you're not afraid of technology, and you're blabbing with me today. What are you finding in your business right now that's working for you to reach your audience?
It's really the speaking. It really is, because I think there's that personal connection. You know, when people hear me talk about my story, you know, how I went through that dark time, couldn't figure out my purpose. A lot of people can find some common ground in that. And when they hear me talk about guidance, they realize it's not such an out there concept. You know, like I said, we all have those moments of when we feel like we're being guided. So it's just tuning into that more and more and strengthening, because it's really like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it gets.
So the last question I have kind of around this is, we all have guidance. We just have to remember it. So what do you do, Ramona, that is of value to the person on the other end that they can't do on their own?
It's really teaching them what they're looking for, how to strengthen that, how to tune into it more so they can get out of that, negative space in their head, and really stop second guessing themselves and get out of that mind story thing that we all have. Because like I said, we just, constantly beat ourselves up on things, and it's hard to get rid of a mind story or a limiting belief when you don't really realize it's even there in the first place. So, it's pulling those things out of people and teaching them to reprogram their mindset, get rid of the things that aren't serving them and give them the things that are.
Well, and you're an expert in this as well. So your path, I always say a third grader is a god to a second grader, right? And you're probably like a 12th grader in terms of connecting with your intuition, and for those people who believe in divine intuition, so you are really shepherding people through that process, and your channel is probably much more open than the average mouse. You know what I mean? So that's a really great thing. And then the other thing that I was going to, what was I going to say to you? Hold on one second. Oh, I know what it was. So I love what you say, because we know each other, right? We've worked together in lots of different capacities. So you know that I always say, I really don't know if I believe this stuff. I really don't. And I say that to you, I think, every time I talk to you, right? I don't know if I believe this stuff, but it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. So what do you say to people who are skeptics? Go ahead.
I say, not out to convince anybody of anything. I just say, take it for what it is and try it out yourself. Listen to your guidance and follow it and see what happens. Don't listen to it and see what happens, right? Mm-hmm. And the more that you sort of put it into practice, the more people start to see that, hey, when I listen to this or I tune into this, great things happen.
So give me a really great success story that you've had of someone who's done that.
Oh my gosh, a lot of people who are ready to move their business to the next level, and there is that element of fear. They don't know, do I really do this? But they feel so pushed, so nudged, and I kind of hold their hand and help them walk off the ledge, if you will. Yeah. But they're not falling, instead of, falling flat on their face, they're opening their wings and they're soaring, and it's awesome. They're like, dang, I wish I would have done this sooner. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting over that place of fear, as I said, and pushing themselves to the other side, because the number one regret that people have on their deathbed is that, I wish I would have done what I really desired to do, instead of, letting fears hold me back or letting other people dictate, what I was supposed to do with my life.
Yeah. And I can tell from my experience and working with you in different ways is that it really does, the advice that I've gotten, even just like in this past couple of weeks, we talked a few weeks ago, and you said it's going to be, Mercury in retrograde is coming up, and it's a time to reflect and rejuvenate, all the RE words, rest, all those things. And I was like, okay, but I'm a type A person, so I want to go. And I have this, some really big things on the horizon that are coming up, and I couldn't quite figure it out. And I was like, damn it, this is so what's happening right now. And I wasn't really listening. I was just pushing through. And when I kind of said, you know what? I don't need to do this right this second, and it will be revealed to me as long as I just keep moving, but I'm not pushing. So even though I'm not 100% I absolutely believe this, but following those patterns, it helped me. It really did. So you can count me as a success story, because I definitely had thumbs up. I definitely had that experience where you told me something, and I was noticed when I went with the flow and when I didn't go with the flow, and how my creativity even changed over that time. So
right. And it's true, in nature, there's a growing season, there's a resting season. We always feel like we have to be doing something, but there's a lot to be said in just being and allowing that information to come to you. You think about it, anything we chase runs from us. So when we're striving and pushing, that's a negative energy. And as opposed to being in a state of allowing the guidance to come to you, the answers to come to you. So sometimes like when we push too much, it just slows down the process.
Yeah, and I would say for me with my clients as well, it's one of the times in their lives that they actually take the time to sit and think and talk and process. And you don't get a strong brand, you don't get like a really authentic, powerful brand by doing it in chaos. You don't, because it has to be authentic, and you have to be able to tune in. And speaking to someone else, whether you're speaking to an angel practitioner or brand strategist, having someone guide you and reflect back to you what you are saying, and your guidance and your intuition is really priceless when you're trying to move forward in your life or your business. So yeah. So Ramona, we're coming to our time, and we ran a little bit over, and I'm sorry about that, but we had some juicy, really great insights from you, and I really appreciate your time coming here. So one of the things I always ask my guests is, what are you most grateful for?
I'm just so grateful that I found my true path and purpose, so that now I can teach others about this stuff, and like I said, whether it's in life in general or from a business perspective, how they can use this in their everyday life, because as I said, it makes things so much easier. The image that always comes up to me is when you know how to work with your guidance, it's like having an ace, the card, an ace in your pocket. It's almost like you have a one-up on everybody else who doesn't know how to use theirs. So I'm just, it's that ripple effect that now I know, then I can teach others, and hopefully they will share with others, and we can, expand everybody's consciousness.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome, and that's such a huge gift, and I am grateful for you for coming on the show and for all that you have given me and all that you are sharing with everybody to help raise the consciousness and make a more peaceful world. So I really want to thank you for your time, for sharing with us, and I want to thank all my guests for being here as well. And my gift to you for coming is to give you a free webinar on how to become a better speaker and sell from the stage, just like Ramona was saying, that when you speak, you reach your audience more quickly, and you can get that at clearvoicebranding.com/close-any-room. So thank you so much. And Ramona, before we go, can you type in or shoot out your URL where people can get in touch with you?
Sure thing. I can't type it because of my crazy setup here, but
I'll type it. You tell me. It's
www.ramona, that's spelled RAMONA.com. So RamonaRemesat.com.
Okay, and I just put it in the chat, so it's in there, so if people want to get in touch with you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for being with me, Ramona. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes, everybody. Take care. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Thrive. I loved having you here. I love having you as part of my community. And if you're enjoying the show, I would love it if you share it with your friends on Twitter, on Facebook, or wherever they're hanging out. I also want to let you know you can leave me feedback or comments. I love hearing from you. Just post those at heatherpoduska.com. You can also leave suggestions for topics that you'd like to know more about, or if there's someone you'd really like to see on the show, let me know that as well. Okay, until next time, here's to hitting all your high notes. Take care. Bye-bye.